All right, welcome everyone to the Profitable Retreats webinar. And today our goal is to visualize how retreats can be part of our six-figure plus business model. Retreats have been something that I've been working on since 2008, leading them, planning them. And for 7 years now, I've been helping others just like you run retreats. And it was really cool to just see some of the powerful shifts that some of my clients have been having who are part of my coaching, my trainings. And I'm very excited to share with you today all the things that have worked for me and also all the things that have not worked for me, because that's also very real. And my goal is to make sure that we don't fall in that same pattern. So I will be here for the next about 45 minutes giving you content, and then we'll jump into the Q&A. So can you tell I am very excited and I need your attention. Grab a pen, take some notes, and let's get ready to maximize this time, because when you put focus in what I'm saying, what you're seeing, what you're hearing, and putting it down on paper, it creates new synapses in the brain. And if you have any aha moments, you can screenshot and share on Instagram, ari.bizcoach, because I will repost you. And I know that you are working versus scrolling. So don't get stuck on the scroll if you do post. So you're in the right place, right? If you're a wellness professional and you've been enamored at the idea of leading retreats, but you're not sure if you're ready, you're looking to grow your practice and income away from more one-on-one clients and expand your revenue streams, and you feel inspired to make huge shifts via retreats, and you're just not sure how it all works from start to finish. And maybe the planning, executing, and selling makes you want to hide. But here's the secret. Retreats are not only powerful ways to help others, and they can be a very important piece, like I said, of your six-figure business model. So let's do this. Goals for today's class. I want you to be the leader in your industry with high-ticket programs and retreats. Present you the opportunities to achieve your personal and financial goals quicker without the burnout. Show you how retreats are pillars for income injections, and create a yes vibe to your retreat launches. Who this is not for, right? Those of you who don't take their business seriously, business owners who aren't ready to lead. You just started your business and have zero experience, and you get upset or offended when someone gives you 60 minutes of free content and then makes an offer at the end. And guess what, right? Like, it's not your fault that in any training or certification program, the structure for monetizing your skills wasn't the main focus. And I say this for obvious reasons, because if you were training to be a good, a yoga teacher or a life coach or trauma informed, and most of it wasn't spent on making you a really great service provider, well, that's a problem. This is why business, when we're getting certified, is usually the smallest part of the training. So this is why it's very important to supplement your knowledge through courses, coaching, lessons, master classes, workshops, etc. And today, right, I get to teach you a lot of it that's digestible and in your terms, because I'm sure if you went to business school, they would throw a lot of jargon at you that for us wellness professionals sometimes doesn't make sense. But we're going to do it with soul. And if you know me, or if you're getting to know me, with some kick-ass strategy. So I have 2 fun rewards for hanging out today until the end. I'm going to gift you all my retreat starter kit and one-on-one coaching call for those of you who qualify. So my guess is that us, right, entered the wellness for the self-fulfillment and service to others. We didn't say, whoa, this is my get-rich-quick profession. And sometimes you pay the price in terms of income. But I have a promise for you today, is that I am, you'll see in a minute, like literally obsessed with helping my clients generate more revenue, and that the content that I give you today will help you, right, step forward into new awarenesses. Because I want you to imagine what your life will be like when you change more lives while making more money and being free to live life on your own terms. Or you can show up as a leader, an energy-rich soul, providing massive value to your clients and students. Or how about when you really know how to set up your business correctly, right? The structure with steps to follow, like the brand marketing operations. Think, would that make a difference for you and your family? And results are not typical. I'll walk you through the system I'm using that changed my life and doubled my income, even when I wasn't, quote unquote, a business person. And please understand that my results were my journey and they're not typical, because the average person who attends any training might get 0 results. However, obviously, I'm happy to share with you for free what's working for me. And like I said before, this is not a get rich quick. This is work, and we love it. So who am I? For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ariane, or Ari, and I'm literally obsessed with building a business, with being a business owner and making my level 10 life happen. I'm constantly learning, growing, being coached, and also amplifying voices to make this world better. I am a speaker, I'm an author, I'm a mom more than anything, which is my favorite job, honestly. And I have over 15 years, almost 20 years teaching all over the world, leading trainings, retreats. I owned an award-winning yoga studio here in Miami. I have 20 years in advertising, marketing, and photography. I'm a business and marketing expert for wellness professionals. I'm a smart cookie, straight A student, BFA, cum laude, the whole shebang through school. I have an e-commerce business. I love to teach and help people. I've created over $3 million in revenue since starting my coaching business. I'm the owner of the Yoga Expo, which is the largest yoga trade show in the United States. I'm a best-selling 2-times author. I have a book called The Abundant Yogi. It's all about business for yoga teachers. And I've helped over 1,000 people grow their business. All right, so you're not alone, right? I was over the hustle and wanted more. So if some of you feel me with this, raise your hands. And I was a slave to my yoga studio, and I was high functioning depressed. So I was in the wrong business model because my number one value is freedom and travel and experiences. And I was in the wrong place doing my best. I had a lot of limiting beliefs and thinking that I wasn't ready, or that I wasn't that other successful person who resonates with me when you're like on Instagram and somebody's got all the followers, or you see ads of people and you're like, how are they doing what they're doing? They must be 10 steps ahead of me. But first of all, I was really stressed and burnout. And then I shifted to being a digital entrepreneur 7 years ago, and I started helping people with the things that I knew how to do best. Leading retreats was one of the things that I've been doing for almost 2 decades. And this was my first client, Zoe, and I helped her lead a retreat to Vanuatu. And Vanuatu is an island in the South Pacific that I had never even heard of, and I'm a world traveler. And she was able to lead her first retreat at age like 23. So I want to make sure that you know that it's possible for you. So what are we going to cover today? There we go. 7 steps. And we'll dive deep into a few of these, but this is the core of the retreat, of Profitable Retreats formula. So why retreats are part of your 6-figure business model as a transformational expert. This should be something that, obviously, if you're here listening to this, you see this. 6 figures, retreats being one of the pillars. Why the retreat experience will create a ripple effect into lifetime customers. Your mindset, right? Mindset is everything, but taking action and leading fearlessly. Location, location, location. This makes a huge impact on your profit. Creating logistical flows versus nightmares. Budgeting and planning for profits versus revenue, right? Net versus gross. And marketing and sales for your retreat success. So here's the problem. The problem is that many of us, we we love to have these beautiful ideas. We're very creative. We're very inspired, right? We get downloads. And then when it comes into that action part, into the planning, the how to, the logistics, the breaking things down into tangible pieces that are, right, product, marketing, and sales, basically, we stop. We get overwhelmed. We get nervous. We become unsure of ourselves. But the solution is having this streamlined step-by-step plan that covers all your assets, right? All these pitfalls that you know how to pick locations, you know how to write curriculum, you know how to engage people into sales conversations that end up in you bringing in thousands and thousands of dollars. You know how to negotiate with retreat centers, you know how to, right, leverage your position. So it's knowing and doing in a way that is systematized, it's organized, and it's simple. So why retreats are part of your six-figure business model as a transformational expert, right? Business is math. You want to have a clear vision for your potential, and you want to create the right container to achieve your goals. These were some of my retreats: Bali, Puerto Rico, Nicaragua, Guatemala. So I've led retreats in probably over a dozen countries at this point, and retreats and retreat style trainings, which we'll get to in a minute, right? But very powerful shifts. You see happy people, great community. A lot of these people are still friends today, which is one of the things that I love about retreats. So what's your vision for your business, right? I can sit here all day and talk to you about retreats, quote unquote, but do you want to lead? Do you want to extend your services into something that's a large responsibility, right? Taking people into Bali, for example, that's not easy. If you're crazy like me and I take people hiking up a volcano, right? Those are fear things that honestly, you need to be aligned to that vision. You need to want, or you want to have retreats be something that you do and that you own and that you lead. All right, my first retreat, this 2008, I believe. I was a fairly new teacher. I had only been teaching for about 2.5 years. I didn't have, when I say I didn't have it all together, I like barely had anything together. But I got 25 people to show up. Now, dozens later, I have tried and true methods. So again, you can do this too, because the mindset is everything, right? We talked about having the bigger vision of what's possible. You want to know that you're totally qualified for creating this endeavor. You want to allow yourself to stand out as a leader. You want to position yourself to hold space and to guide others without fear. You're here for a reason, because you want to serve and shine, and you want to trust that this is part of your dharma, that this is part of what you want to do. And you're not alone. There's a whole community of yoga teachers, of wellness specialists, of coaches, right, who are on the same journey. They're either figuring out what their next step is for scalability, they're trying to figure out how to leverage their audience, or they're literally being like, I am ready for something different. Because something that keeps us stuck, and this is, I've been in this business for a very long time, coaching and helping others, is that patterns and stories are what drive paralyzed lack of action, right? So what stories do you tell yourself that don't serve you? Notice what limiting beliefs you have around money, success, abundance, and you. And I'm going to stop sharing for a second, because I would love for you all at some point to do this exercise, not right now. You're going to look at yourself in the mirror, straight up in your eyes, and you're going to tell yourself a bold statement that relates to you. For example, I'm a 7-figure business owner. And I want you to listen to all the shit, all the little crappy voices that are like fuddling around behind you. These are your patterns and stories that are preventing you from stepping forward. Okay, so that's your homework. Let me get back to my slides. I lost them. 4 seconds. Give me a second. I'll find them in a second. So with that being said, right, where are we operating from? How are we connecting to having, right? Who are we being so that we are creating, so that we are having all the things that we want? And this is the key. This is the profitable retreats formula. Wow, okay, totally lost that. Ooh, all right, here we go again. Thank you, everybody. Okay, where are we? Boom, boom. All right. You can see this. Absolutely, of course you can. Okay. All right, so there's different kinds of retreats, and we'll delve into this a little bit more because this is actually super important. So there's many different ways you can lead retreats, right? You might be seeing the typical like, hey, let's go to Costa Rica for a week and we're gonna, do yoga and we're gonna go surfing and we're gonna, go to the volcano. So it's more like a touristy style retreats. But there's VIP style retreats. For example, you could do a single day, find a really cool location in your town where people come and spend one-on-one with you at a high ticket. You could do that type of rest and relaxation retreat, skill up leveling retreat. These are more like coaching retreats or certifications, an immersive retreat where there's a lot of learning, not necessarily a certification, non-residential retreats, mini retreats. And so if we know our options and we're not limited by one style of retreat that might not be what you want. And here's a quote that I swear by. You can make thousands of dollars with a handful of people. And retreats are one of the ways that this can happen. You don't need 25 people to go on a retreat to make a few $1,000s. And if you have 25 people with the right pricing, you can make tens of thousands of dollars. So here's some ideas, right? One simple retreat can potentially bring in at least $1,500. And when I say simple, it's not, going to Hawaii or Bali. It could be something simple. Weekend retreat in your hometown. And think, right? 10 people at $200. Let's say you want to do your first one very low price, because I want to remove the potential fear of you having to, schlep across the world to lead a retreat. You could do something, like I said, weekend, half day, 10 people at $200. That's a $2,000 cash injection. Or 10 people at $1,000. 5 people at $2,000, right? We're now just creating the right formulas. So, right, listen to me, formulas for the goal that you want, that vision that we talked about. Hope that, right, everybody's maybe seeing the yeses. Secret number 2, or step number 2, creating the ideal retreat that aligns with your business goals. But here's the catch, that gets you closer to your dream style, attract the right people and the right style. Okay. This is what I mean by that. Well, before that, this is a quote that I like, please, like, just take a screenshot. This is a great time to do this. And this is what has probably gotten me from, teaching weekly classes and, barely having enough to, do fun things, like just making enough money to cover my bills, to being an investor, having, multiple businesses, like really being a CEO of a few different companies. It doesn't matter what you know. It matters what you do. You can sit here and take every certification in the world. You could be the master right, at a neuro-linguistic program, and you could have a 5 million hour yoga teacher training. But if you don't do anything different to move your business forward, you're just going to have a lot of knowledge. If you don't apply something, it's wasted knowledge. Action is critical for success. The most successful people often aren't any smarter or more talented. They just actually do the things everyone else just talks about doing. Okay, so this is very important. Now, action does require knowledge. For example, if you want to lead retreats, but you don't know how to lead retreats, take that knowledge, but then apply it. Okay, so 2 types of retreats. This is what we're going to focus on: certification and that like rest and relaxation type retreats, because this kind of falls along with that style that I was talking about. Certification retreats are where people go, they learn a new skill set, they go deeper into something. So it's that skill up leveling. And they walk away with like, hey, I have 30 hours of this, I have 20 hours of that. I will tell you, I have made the most money by leading certification style retreats. They're not necessarily teacher trainings. They're not necessarily, right? Because sometimes to learn a skill set, potentially some of you might be like, well, how am I going to teach people, something that it took me 3 months in a week? Potentially won't happen. But imagine if you can condense some of the 3-month curriculum into 5 days and then finish the rest via online course or Zoom coaching or other in-person. So there's ways that you can weave retreats into your existing programs. There's ways that you can weave retreats into your existing trainings or certifications. So this is really powerful because I've personally invested with 3 different coaches whose business model included retreats as a way to create community, come together, have personalized, right, connection. And it was awesome. Even when I was getting my 500-hour yoga certification, we did 7 days in Vermont as part of like a cohort. So there's a lot of potential for the certification style retreats. And I will tell you, and you probably can raise your hand that you're here today, who doesn't love a piece of paper saying that they accomplished something? Recreational retreats, right? This is maybe what you're seeing more of. And like most people won't call a certification program a retreat. They'll call it like an immersive experience. But the recreational retreats have also brought me like, I made like $10,000 taking people to Thailand, and we had the best time, like the best time. And I did it with a co-teacher. So that retreat net was close to 20,000. So that was awesome. So lots of potential with recreational retreats, but you have to know your audience, and we'll get to that in a minute. This is a former client of mine, Leah, and she did her first retreat, weekend meditation training with 5 people. She did it in her house, and she's like, it brought me more than I make in a month of teaching, right? So that's huge, guys, huge. We don't even think about these types of scenarios, but you need to identify your ideal client. So for example, if you are on the path of training the trainer, right? Like I used to certify people in 200 and 300-hour teacher trainings. Well, then my retreat, and also when I was an acro yoga teacher, I used to certify people in different types of immersions. So if that was my ideal client, right, of people who wanted to become professional, yoga teachers, professional wellness providers, then my retreat needed to fill that void, because business is about filling gaps at the end of the day. So if you know who your ideal client is, and we'll call this ideal client like level 10, closest to the cash, like taking the fruit that's closest to you, make that be the first thing you do. Right? Make sense? So what are their challenges? What are their goals? How do they communicate? How much money do they have? What makes them happy? Like understand the psychographics of your target audience so that you can fill that void. You can fill that need, that desire. Talk to your people and get to know their needs. market research, and surveys. When I first started coaching, I coached a bunch of people for free. I just did a bunch of free calls. Why? Because I needed to understand the words, the problems, the issues, right? Their mindset, their languaging, so that I could use that in my marketing, so that I could use that in my offer creation, so that, right, I understood who was there to purchase my offerings and products. Your specialty. This is so key. What makes you different? What makes you unique? What would make somebody say yes? Like, yes. I definitely need to be there with Ari at her business retreat. I definitely need to be there with Kristen at her spiritual awakening retreat. All right, what are your goals for the experience, and what are their goals? So how are you communicating this, right? And we'll talk about marketing again a little bit later, but if nobody knows about what you're doing, then how would you expect to build any aspect of your business? And what's a win for you? To me, a win is leading a retreat and breaking even. That's a win if you're starting. A win to me is leading a retreat, breaking even by getting testimonials, footage, right? Learning big mistakes. A win for me is now leading a retreat and coming home with 5 figures. And then knowing that those people are going to be lifetime customers, potential, right? And please remember this, forget the how, focus on the benefits. So when we are selling, marketing, proposing, promoting, sometimes we fall a lot in the how, right? The features of things versus the overall benefits. So this is marketing 101. This is another client of mine. She led her first training, had 14 people paying $2,500. They were immersive retreats, right? She was so scared. And thanks to Ari, you know, she brought home $18,000 over 4 months. So this is a hybrid style retreat where we had immersive experiences and then the continued training. Step 3, the perfect retreat formula. Location, alignment, price equals profits. Pick the right location, not just like Bali, but it has to be the venue, right? The venue that's aligned to your values, the venue that's aligned to your goals, the venue that's willing to be flexible and work with you. Alignment, right, is picking that right retreat style, and then pricing. So remember that. LAP equals profits. Because pricing your retreat all stems from the desired end result. For example, I have been to retreats where I've paid $3,000 for 3 days. But what was the promise of that retreat? That I was going to walk away with my business portfolio ready and done. I've paid $2,500 for 2 days. What was the end result? I got a certification as a webinar trainer. So how are you pricing based on end result? People have paid me $3,000 to go on a retreat to Bali. Or it was even less. It was like $2,950, I think, right? For 8 days in Bali. End result is that they went to Bali and had like the Bali experience. We curated the crap out of that retreat so that people felt like they were in the culture, right? It wasn't like a tourist. We became like locals because we set it up that way. And sales is all about communicating that message. So it's a heck yes. Find a retreat wellness center that is flexible and willing to work with you. So this is huge. And this is something that I learned a couple of years ago that also changed the relationships that I have with venues. First of all, I'm going to skip to this next slide because this is important. Retreat centers want your business. Know that, okay? So you can be flexible with cancellation policies. You can ask for profit share. Like now, I'll mainly work with places that will give me a profit share of the total revenue. I just got a $2,000 check for my retreat in October because we had a profit share. So that's money that you might be able to get on the backside of the retreat. And see like what extra perks and goodies you can get Like I just, part of that retreat, that deal from October, I have 2 free nights with my entire family. That's like $2,000 worth of a free trip. So where can you leverage, right? Because again, they want your business. The right pricing is what makes you money. Like on the during the retreat, because you're right, let's say front end, during, back end. Front end, you're collecting money from participants who are interested. During is where you can sell people into one-on-ones. You can tell them about any programs. You could sell them into the next retreat, tell them about your event that's coming up, whatever it is that you're doing. And then after the retreat, maybe you're getting some of that commission money. Okay? Pricing the retreat with proper planning and creating an offering that fits your people and your desire to fill. So when you plan correctly, when you have the right partners, when you have the right conversations, right, AKA marketing and sales, think about like what the different options are. So a 7-day luxury retreat to Thailand. Southeast Asia tends to be much cheaper for, American, let's say Western. So you can actually make quite a bit of money, but it's a schlep. So maybe people don't want to, have a 18-hour plane ride plus layovers plus jet lag. So it has to make sense for you, right? Like I did a 5-day immersion in New York and I made $7,000 in profit, and I got students that worked with me after. So that profit actually grew because I enrolled them into the next certification program that I was doing. So you can see like 7-day retreat to Bali, it was 3 of us because we were like, oh, let's just like do it together as friends. It was awesome. But again, Southeast Asia was such a great deal because we were able to sell it. Look, I told you guys earlier, it was like $2,950. It was only like $2,300. Mind you, this is close to 8 years ago, but still, okay? People buy what they want. So make sure to give it to them. So here's why I said, to do market research and survey your audience. So those retreats to Thailand and to Bali, I filled them quickly because I did a few posts on Facebook and I was like, hey guys, I'm thinking about doing another retreat. What are you feeling? Costa Rica, Bali, or I think I said Peru. And most people were like, Bali, 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 Bali. So I just did the retreat to Bali. Like I didn't care, where the retreat was to. I filled their desire. So think about, when you're planning things, how you are getting feedback. It's called pulling versus pushing, right? Ideally, you attract your ideal customers by crafting the perfect retreat experience that speaks directly to their wants and desires. Again, this is marketing. Your messaging and promise makes people raise their hands. I mean, some of you are here today because you raised your hands that said, yes, I want to lead a retreat. My messaging was attractive to you. And you want to create a marketing flow that helps you be seen and help move people from interested to committed. That is the key to money. Interested is nice. We love interested people. But the next step is commitment. It's getting money. So how are you working on your sales processes? Right? I used to be awful at sales. Awful. Because I had a lot of misconceptions, preconceptions. Oh, sales is terrible. People just want to take my money. They don't really care, whatever. And insert whatever dialogue fits there. But the minute that I learned how to love sales and see them as service, everything changed. So here's a simple marketing flow for 5 to 6 month timelines. That's how long I usually will start promoting a retreat. And when I say usually, sometimes it's less. But you definitely want to launch like the website event. So you activate your website, you put a page on it. I use funnels, but somewhere there's the retreat information, right? You design the theme and look and feel for the retreat. You share the event via Facebook, Instagram, photos, videos, and everything should answer questions and objections. Always think, why would people not come to this? So you constantly want to be addressing that. Then you would do an info session or webinar, 4 months, 3 months, 2 months, like just keep doing info sessions so that you start getting leads that are really like interested. Then weekly, here's the thing, like if your retreat's 5 months away, you're not promoting your retreat every week for 5 months because you're doing other things in between that. So you're like, how do I promote all the things that I'm doing? Well, it could be a graphic in your newsletter. It could just be a gentle post. It could be one-on-one conversations. So there's definitely things that you're doing weekly to keep the retreat on, top of mind. And then about 4 weeks before, you're getting like people's yeses and maybes to the Facebook event. You go, you DM them, you email, and then you start doing social selling in DMs, right? This is basically the structure, and not just for retreats, but for any program or any launch, okay? So think about this. Why isn't this working? We've covered, right? Why retreats are part of your 6-figure business model. Why the retreat experience will create a ripple effect into lifetime customers. Your mindset around taking action and leading fearlessly. Why the location can make a huge impact on your profit. We're creating logistical flows versus nightmares, okay? And that's, remember, picking the right location, having that venue be a good partner for you, understanding all the things that have to be done in terms of marketing, in terms of curriculum building, right? Your budgeting, and something I didn't mention, but I'll mention it now. One of my rules of thumb, it's know your numbers, right? Business is math. So let's say it's going to cost you $1,000 per person for your retreat. Start with 2,000. You can always go down, but at least you're covering your planning, you're covering your, any expenses, marketing, your time during the retreat, you're working. After the retreat, you're following up, goodie bags, right? So this is the complete picture. Like, these are all the things that need to happen in order for a successful retreat. But if you don't know your numbers, and this is why in my retreats course that I'll tell you guys about in a minute, I give you these like extensive financial planners and I give you marketing emails, and I give you graphics, because so much of this like pre-planning, organizing, curriculum building is not what we do on a day-to-day. And I've actually helped quite a bit of people in simply the curriculum so that they actually created time for themselves during the retreat. And here's the thing, right? Like, you might be excited about retreats, and this quote to me is very powerful, because commitment means staying loyal to what you said you were going to do long after the mood you said it in has left you. Because some of you are here, be like, yeah, let's take people to Bali, or like, let me like do my certification program, my 5-day certification in a retreat, right, in Miami, woohoo! And then when you come down to the planning, the fear creeps up. Are people going to come? Am I going to lose money? Right? This is real. But if you have your ducks in a row from, right, pre-planning, organizing, like seeing your checklist, then hello, it becomes like, okay, I have all this stuff like pretty much covered. Now I just need to focus on, getting butts and seats. And then the stress boils down to mainly one thing, which is your sales, because all the other things have been basically given to you, right? And look, I'm not sure why some of you showed up today. Maybe you're frustrated with how your business is moving. Maybe you're feeling like there's more to how you can grow. Maybe you've been seeing retreats be the rage and wondered how this can work for you. Or maybe you just really like me and wanted to spend an hour with me today. But this can be you, right? Like, this was Mexico, top left-hand corner. Actually, 2 different Mexico retreats. I've done a few in Mexico. That above one is Bali, but like, why not? Why not you? Like, why not you be the next success story? So I can put you as one of my testimonials. Because look, retreats really, really, really rock. And they can transform your entire business and life. And I believe that if you've been on this call up to this point, you have what it takes to excel with retreats. And this is something you can get started with right now. And look, if there's one takeaway, I've literally cracked the code to traveling, impacting, and making money. And it's very much a replicatable system, right? It's the Profitable Retreats formula. So the question is, how can you apply this system for leveraging the power of and profiting from retreats? Because you have a choice. You can do it the slow way through trial and error by taking some of what I've given you here today, or you could do it really quickly by using my Profitable Retreats program. And so thank you for being in the presentation. And I am just so honored that we spent this time together.